um, working to help uh, orphans, displaced children, young men and women, in people that are in the greatest need, but they're also the future of Syria. And so today we'll be focusing on our humanitarian work, and we'll be fundraising specifically and only for our humanitarian work. And you'll hear about the amazing institutions that the Syrian Emergency Task Force has sustained for years inside Syria, and has made a huge difference for everyone. So I'm excited for you to hear from everyone else. I'm also excited for you to watch this short video produced by our team member Sully, that describes the humanitarian work before we move on to our first speakers. So welcome everyone, and please enjoy this video.
Before the war started in 2011, Syria had one of the highest literacy rates in the world. And so as the war has been going on for 12 years, a lot of children, a high percentage of children, have had no access to education. In 2016, we had identified, a school that was operating in Northwest Syria, but it had zero support in Idlib, in the middle of this active war zone. When we first started supporting the Wisdom House, we first sent a generator so that they could keep the lights on, of course, paying the teachers a salary. And so today, it's almost 8 years later, we just started our 8th class of kindergartners. Not only are students getting the chance to go to school, for many of them, it's the first time they felt normal. So about a year after we started the Wisdom House, Moz and I met a woman, and her name was Rasha. And so we asked her, what does your community need? And she said, I know exactly what it needs. We need a women's center, a place where women can become economically independent. And we started to get our community involved enough so that we could support it. And so we've been running Tomorrow's Dawn for 6 years now. Psychologically, for the women who are living in this war zone, most of them have lost family members. It's so wonderful for them to actually be together in one room, using their hands, communicating, meeting new friends. And that's been just as important as actually the certificates that they gain at the end of their courses.
In this neighborhood in the Turkish city of Gaziantep, not far from the Syrian border, Dr. Munir provides essential recovery support for families from war-torn Syria to heal. That's exactly what this center is called, the House of Healing.
The House of Healing is a home away from home for internally displaced Syrians with critical medical conditions who are allowed temporarily into Turkey while they receive treatment. And these patients, up to 75 at a time, are able to stay at the House of Healing, where we provide food, transportation to and from appointments, and the patients suffer from really hard conditions, including cancer, burns, amputations, chronic diseases. These patients are unable to get the treatment they need inside Syria because hospitals and medical workers have been continuously targeted and bombed. Just this last year, the amazing staff at the House of Healing started hosting education courses for the children, and many of them have never had school, or they haven't been able to go to school because of their disability. These kids love their school, they've gained confidence and never miss a class. A donor visiting the House of Healing last year also saw the kids learning, but they were sitting on the ground, and he said, I want to get them desks. And so the next day, 30 desks arrived at the House of Healing, and now it's a real classroom.
Some 8,000 internally displaced Syrians living near the Jordanian border have just received much-needed humanitarian supplies.
In Rukban camp, around 6,000 of the 8,000 residents are considered a vulnerable group, and this is because they have no income. There are no doctors in the camp, and residents have little access to medical assistance.
السلام عليكم يا أخي ورحمة الله. إحنا هون بمخيم الركبان، والله الحال تعبان شوي باعتبار إحنا مريضين وما في دكتور يلي يعرف حالتنا. الله وكيلك إحنا مريضين وما بنعرف شو بينا.
SETF started the Hope Pharmacy a few years ago, providing almost 80% of the camp with their basic medical needs, including antibiotics, medicine for diabetes, baby milk, and a lot of the babies are suffering from malnutrition and adult diapers. The Hope Pharmacy is a source of hope for the camp's residents, especially because they've been neglected and forgotten by the international community for years. SETF's humanitarian programs have allowed us to connect with people directly on the ground, and they've fostered friendships with students and communities around the world who get to know the resilient Syrian people who just want a normal life like the rest of the world. They've inspired us, and they should inspire all of us.
Thank you all, and I hope you can see it's very small glimpse of humanitarian work and the people that we support. And I'm very excited and proud to have a lot of the individuals that are leading this humanitarian work on the ground with us here today, so they can briefly talk to you all about each one of these programs. And I'll also serve as translator for some of the team members that don't speak English. And so first off, I would like to introduce an amazing young lady, a leader in Syria. Not only has she, as many that will speak to you today, have survived bombardment, displacements, lost loved ones, but she continues to move forward and really change the lives of others. And, you know, a lot of times, and thanks to the support of SETF, these institutions, even when they're bombed and they're moved from place to another, they are resilient, and then they become really a light for the people around them. So I would like to introduce Rasha, who is the director of the Tomorrow's Dawn Women's Center. It is located in the midst of 1,270 internally displaced people's camps near Atme in northern Idlib Province that continues to this day facing humanitarian disaster and regular bombardment. But she can tell us a little bit about what the Tomorrow's Dawn Center is and why it's so important. فأنسي رشا، شكرا لوجودك معنا ولوقتك، وحبيت إنه نعطيك الفرصة تحكي معنا عن ما هو مركز إشراقة الغد وليش هو مهم جدا، وأنا حكون مترجم لك. تفضل. ورشا انت على الميوت، فاذا بتقيمي الميوت واذا عندك المجال تحطي الكاميرا كمان بيكون ممتاز. رشا معانا؟ So I see. Oh, hello.
السلام عليكم. كأنه كان في مشكلة بالكاميرا ما عم تفتح، ما بعرف إنه الأمر من عندكم أو من عندي.
غريب. She's saying that the camera is not allowing her to turn her camera on. I don't know if Sully or Nat or someone that's hosting this can help with that. But if not, we can also just get started without the camera. But it would be great if people can see her. She's saying she's unable to turn it on. حاولي هلا رشا تشعلي الكاميرا. ممتاز. واعطيني الفرصة إني ترجم بين جملاتك، فخذي راحتك.
تمام. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. شكرا لكل الأشخاص الموجودين معنا اليوم. أنا كثير مسرورة لوجودي معكم اليوم. بشكر المنظمة السورية للطوارئ وكل شخص عم يساعد بدعم مشاريع الإنسانية. أنا رشا الشحات، مديرة مركز إشراقة الغد لتمكين المرأة بإدلب.
Shukran. First of all, I want to say peace be upon you all. Thank you for everyone that has joined us today. And so grateful for all of you and for our team at the Syrian Emergency Task Force. My name is Rasha Shahad. I am the director of Tomorrow's Dawn Women's Center.
تمام. في سؤال محدد ولا بحكي
فالسؤال هو هن سؤالين وانت خدي راحتك. فالسؤال الاول and the first question I'm asking Rasha is ما هو يعني فيك تعطينا فكرة كاملة عن ما هو دار إشراقة الغد. We're asking what is Tomorrow's Dawn Women's Center.
تمام. طبعا مركز إشراقة الغد هو مركز تأسس ب 2017 لدعم وتمكين المرأة السورية بظل الحرب. بعد انطلاق الثورة بسنوات تعرضت المرأة لكثير من الضعف، فقدت إمكانية التعليم، فقدت إمكانية إنه تكون مرأة مؤهلة، وبسبب فقد المعيل بكثير من الأسر كان على المرأة إنه لازم تأخذ دورها لتكون شريكة للرجل بالمجتمع. فالمركز كانت فكرته تمكين هاي المرأة وتأسيسها بشكل قوي لحتى تساعد الرجل حتى تعتمد على حالها بظل الظروف الموجودة. بدأنا نحن بتمكين اقتصادي واجتماعي وتعليمي.
ثواني بس عشان لا ترجمة. شكرا. So Tomorrow's Dawn Women's Center is a center for women empowerment. We founded it with the Syrian Emergency Task Force in 2017. And as the war had raged on in Syria since 2011, women have really been a huge target of the war. They have had to deal with a lot of hardships, but they've also had to step in to really fulfill a lot of the roles that were also missing sometimes when men are arrested or killed. There's also been challenges with education and with making sure that women in Syria are able to continue to have a normal life in a war zone that's so difficult. And so this center was really set up in order to empower women in Syria and give them the tools to be able to provide for their families, to be able to be independent, to be able to continue to be, again, the spinal cord of society throughout this war. تفضلي أنسة رشا.
تمام. طبعا خلال السنوات كنا أمل لكثير من النساء السوريات الحمد لله ضمن منطقة عملنا اللي قدروا من خلال المركز إنه يأسسوا عمل خاص فيهم خلال الدورات المهنية أو دورات التمريض. مثلا سابقا في عنا قسم اللي كانوا عنا صاروا ممرضات بالمشافي، قسم اعتمدوا على نفسهم ككوافيرة أو بمهنة الخياطة، وقسم كبير من الطلاب صاروا خريجين حاليا. يعني الطلاب اللي درسوا عنا بعام 2018 تحولوا لخريجين حاليا. بالسنتين الأخيرات تحول عملنا لتعليمي فقط.
خليني بس أحكي وكمل على التعليمي. ممتاز. So when we started, and we have been able, since we started, we've been able to help hundreds and hundreds, many women across Syria and in our area that we work in. And that included for a long time our vocational trainings, training young women to be nurses, to cosmetology and like being able to open salons. We had training courses in sewing. And what's really amazing is a lot of those that especially back in 2017, 2018, that got this training with us were graduated, and some opened their own salons. Many became nurses, operating in a different field clinics and hospitals in the area, or opening up their own sewing shops. And so it's really been a very powerful economic support for women. In addition to that, in Russia, I was about to talk about the focus on also formal education outside of vocational training. تفضلي يا رشا بالنسبة للتعليم.
تمام. مثل ما حكيت خلال السنتين الأخيرات اختصرت عملنا على التعليم طبعا بسبب الوضع الحالي الموجود والسياسات. فإن شاء الله عم نحاول ضمن المجال التعليمي نخدم أكبر شريحة ممكنة من النساء، وعم نركز بعملنا على النساء اللي فعلا منه بحاجة. يعني عندنا شريحة واسعة عندها عجز إنه تلتحق بالمدارس الخاصة بسبب الأقساط المرتفعة، ممكن يكونوا فاقدات للأب أو أرامل، أو الوضع المادي سيء. فنحن عم نوفر الحمد لله بدعمكم تعليم مجاني لأعداد كبيرة من النساء اللي عاجزين يكونوا، أو البنات اللي عاجزين يكونوا بمكان آخر، أو حتى المراكز الثانية ممكن ترفضهم، ممكن بسبب العمر، ممكن بسبب الحالة الاجتماعية اللي هن فيها. فالمركز عم بيوفر هذا التعليم بشكل ممتاز لهم. حتى الجو اللي موجود عنا مو موجود بتالي الأماكن، يعني كل الطالبات عنا بيشعروا كأنهم ضمن بيتهم الثاني. الحمد لله السنة الماضية كان عندنا عدد من الناجحات التحقوا بالجامعات وبالمعاهد، وهاي السنة إن شاء الله في عنا عدد أكبر عم يقدم. عنا أمل إن شاء الله يكون النتائج أفضل.
And so education today has become our biggest focus. The Tomorrow's Dawn Women's Center also serves as a high school and is registered to do so. And so we have had to, we've been able to sort of focus on education more recently in the past couple of years. And really also focusing on women in need, meaning that women that lost their husbands or that lost their families and were orphans, those that from widows to orphans to those that don't have another way of supporting their families, women that don't have the ability to pay for private schools or for schools in general, because most the few schools that are available you have to pay for. So those that cannot afford it. And it's been really, really successful because if in our center, unlike it's very unique among other places, is that the women and the students that come in really feel like this is their second home. They feel like they're with their families and loved ones, and it's also a really source of strong emotional support for them. And thankfully, those that have graduated last year and the year before have been able to then enter college, attend colleges and universities to continue their education. And that would have been impossible if they didn't have the chance to go to a school that is completely free, that provides them this nurturing environment. تفضلي أنسة عشان تحبي في أي شيء.
تمام. طبعا جمالية المركز انه عم يخدم مثل ما حكيت الفئات اللي اكثر احتياج. يعني عندنا كثير من بنات المعتقلين، بنات الشهداء، الفاقدات المعيل، والشريحة اللي موجودة عندنا من مختلف المحافظات السورية. فبصير انه هون خلط اجتماعي بين البنات، وغير التعليم عم بيقوموا مثلا عم نشوف مواهبهم الثانية، عم بيكون عندهم فرصة لحتى يفرجونا مواهبهم سواء بالفنون أو بأي مجال ثاني مثل زراعة الأشجار، الورد وكذا. فإنه مثل ما حكيت قبل إنه معتبرين المركز البيت اللي إلهم. نحن عم نشتغل على موضوع العلاقات الاجتماعية مع التعليم.
And it's really important because, as I mentioned, we focus on those that are in most needs. I mean, a lot of the young ladies are daughters of martyrs, daughters of individuals that have been arrested and detained by the Assad regime. They are, displaced from their homes. And so being able to bring all these people that also come from different geographic areas of Syria and have been displaced to the area where we operate, it really allows them to also help in terms of social cohesion. And so in a lot of ways, our work is not just limited to education, but it's also this powerful and important civil society work. And what's been really great is we also, beyond the classes, try to nurture their talents and things that they are good at, and they teach each other. For example, if it comes to, doing some creative making of stuff. And I've got in my office here around us some of the cool things that the Women's Center produced, but also, when it comes to farming, planting, flowers, other things. And so it really is beyond just an education. It's a place that provides social and emotional support and brings together these segments of society, particularly these women that are in the greatest need. شكرا رشا. وإذا ما بعرف تحبي تضيفي أي شيء، بس حبيت أسأل بس كمان سؤال سريع. يعني باختصار، ليش من المهم للأشخاص اللي موجودين هون أن يدعموا مركز إشراقة الغد؟
تمام. أكيد الدعم بشكل أساسي هو تأكيد على المبدأ الإنساني. أهم حق من حقوق الإنسان إنه يتعلم، يعني بعد حق الأمان اللي الشعب السوري أصلاً فاقده. يعني إلى حد ما نحن عم نحاول نوصل للأمان المحدود بهاي المنطقة. فحق التعلم لحتى نعرف حقوقنا، نعرف اللي نحن ليش عايشين. هدول مثل ما حكيت، المركز فرصة لكثير من النساء لحتى يكونوا هن صانعين لحياتهم بعد ما فقدوا معيلهم أو بعد ما فقدوا الأب. فالمركز عم يخليهم يوقفوا على رجلهم مرة ثانية، عم يخليهم يبدأوا حياة جديدة، عم يعطيهم أمل، حتى عم يعطي دروس بالأمل الحقيقي لناس كثيرة. يعني بتعرف أخ معاذ، نحن السنة الماضية كان عندنا طالبتين متزوجات، وطالبة متزوجة وعندها أولاد 3، والطالبة الثانية المنقطعة على 15 سنة، واثنيناتهم الحمد لله حققوا النجاح. فكتير أنا بحس إنه دعم هذا المركز تأكيد على المبدأ الإنساني، إنه نحن عم ندعم هذا الإنسان لينجح رغم الحرب. ونحن ما بندعم بس مثلا شيء عسكري أو شيء كذا، لأنه أهم شيء بده إياه الإنسان قبل السلاح وقبل حتى الدواء بتوقع هو العلم، يكون عنده وعي. إن شاء الله رح نحسن نوصل هاي الفكرة.
والله ما عم تقصروا. جزاك الله خير يا رشا. So I asked Rasha, why should people support tomorrow's Dawn Women's Center, and why should the people on this call donate to tomorrow's Dawn Women's Center? And she said, the simple reason is because you'd be supporting human rights. She says that in Syria we have not had our right to security. We're still hoping for it. We call the world to help, bring security, but it's something that's still not here. And that's a human right, to live in safety and security. But so is the right of education, and so is the right of planting, of having hope in a future, and that is why you should support. If you support human rights, you should support tomorrow's Dawn Women's Center, because it allows these young ladies not only to have high school diplomas, to be able to go to college or open up their own business. It also allows them to have not just education, but greater awareness of what their rights are, and to be able to give them greater confidence and show them that they can really make a huge difference in their families and communities. And it gives them hope. And she mentions, and I know so many amazing people, but mentions 2 ladies, that were married and had a bunch of kids and needed to be able to support them, and also wanted to pursue their education. They were able to do that and graduate. And now I'm not translating, but I'll relay one last story. There was this young lady who had her arm blown off, and she was super shy, didn't, want to talk or see anyone. But through the Women's Center, she was, first of all, one of the most talented people, only with one hand, to be able to make some of the most beautiful, like, bouquets and flowers and dresses and things like that. And she went from someone who was hiding, and we can share this video later with you all, and shy, to someone that's really proud. And she was on a video moving her hands, including the one that was blown up by a bomb, from the Assad regime. So it really is a powerful reason to support tomorrow's Dawn Women's Center. Thank you, Rasha, and I hope you can stay with us for the remainder of this program as well, for if we have any questions and answers. I'm أقول رشا شكرا كثير.
بالأخير بحب أعبر إنه أنا كثير بشعر بالاعتزاز، لأني بعتبر حالي عنصر من الفريق الكبير السوري للطوارئ. مو مجاملة، صدقا إنه بنتمي لهذا المكان اللي عم يدعم الإنسان بغض النظر عن أي انتماء طائفي أو إقليمي أو مناطقي. فأنا كثير بعتز بهاي فكرة الإنسانية الموجودة فيها، وأتمنى إن شاء الله دائما النجاح للمنظمة.
شكرا يا رشا. نحن الفخورين. الله يكرمك، ونحن اللي فخورين انك جزء منه، وخليكي معنا ارجوكي لك ما تهي الامر. Russia wanted to add Also that, as she wanted to add that it is a point of pride. She's saying, and it's really, I'm proud to be a part of this team as well. A point of pride for her to be part of the Syrian Emergency Task Force, because we are providing humanitarian aid and education and support to people regardless of their ethnicity, religion, geography, background, and she is saying that the work, particularly the humanitarian work of the Syrian Emergency Task Force, is something to be very, very proud of, and she's proud to be part of that. And she'll stay with us for the remainder of this program in case there are questions later. Shukran, Ansa Rasha. And from here, I know we were going to talk about the Wisdom House, but I think they're working on the internet connection. And so what I'd like to do next is introduce a human being, Dr. Munir Al-Wais. And Dr. Munir, a doctor from Deir ez-Zor, who has actually, we do have Mu'mina, so we can continue. Well, we'll go ahead with Dr. Munir and then we'll go to Mu'mina next. But as far Dr. Munir is someone who has been detained by the Assad regime in the past, and while even in detention, was helping treat people that are living in horrible conditions. He suffered a lot, so did his family throughout the war. They were all displaced. But despite all of that, Dr. Munir started an amazing place, which is the House of Healing. And I really encourage everyone on this call, if you're ever going to Turkey, let us know. We can arrange a visit for you to go and see firsthand the amazing work that goes on at the House of Healing. And I'll let Dr. Munir speak to what the House of Healing is and why it's important. I'll serve as a translator. And if you guys make him co-host, he'll be able to turn on his camera. صلي and team. دكتور منير، إذا فينك تشعل الكاميرا تبعك. أنا أعطيت مقدمة صغيرة عن حضرتك. شكرا لوجودك معنا دكتور. فحبيت إنه أنا حكون مترجم لحضرتك. فحبينا نعرف أولا ما هو دار الاستشفاء. ممكن تعطينا فكرة عن الهاوس اوف هيلينج؟
السلام عليكم والجماعات، وأنا يشرفني صراحة إني أكون بيناتكم وأكون متواجد معكم إن شاء الله بهاي الليلة، وأنقل شيء إن شاء الله. يعني أحاول إني أنقل شيء من الواقع الأخوة السوريين الموجودين عندنا أو القام يدخلون للداخل السوري، عل وعسى إن شاء الله يتقدم لهم أي خدمات أو أي شيء. أنا أعرف عن حالي، أنا الدكتور منير الويس، سوري الجنسية، من مدينة دير الزور، اختصاصي سرطان الدم والتهابات الكبد.
So I would like to say, I am honored to be with you all today, and thank you all for being on here and for your willingness to give and support. I wanted to take this opportunity to give you the reality of what is happening to people inside Syria, what have our patients gone through, and our patients are ones that are internally displaced. They just come to Turkey for this treatment and have to go back. And I wanted to introduce myself. My name is Dr. Munir Al-Wais. I come from the governorate of Deir ez-Zor. تفضل دكتور.
الله يبارك فيك. أنا حاليا مدير دار الأمان، اللي هو عبارة عن منزل للإقامة المؤقتة للأخوة والأخوات السوريين القادمين من الداخل السوري أو المقيمين في الولايات القريبة من عنتاب، وتم تحويلهم إلى عنتاب من أجل العلاج.
So I am the director of the House of Healing. I have served as a director since its beginning. And the House of Healing is a place of refuge and sanctuary and place to stay, a home for Syrians that are internally displaced, Syrians that are inside Syria still, but have permissions to come into Turkey for treatment, and also for Syrian refugees that are from our immediate areas that have received referrals to receive treatment in Turkey. And so during their time there, the House of Healing is a place for them and I'm sure he'll continue, but a place that is a house, a home for them in every sense of the word. تفضل دكتور.
يعمل الدار على تقديم المنامة وتقديم الطعام للأخوة والأخوات المقيمين في الدار، وتأمين المواصلات من أجل الذهاب إلى المشافي وعودتهم، كذلك ربطهم مع المنظمات الأخرى التي تقدم الخدمات من أجل مساعدتهم بأكبر نسبة ممكنة.
In our role at the House of Healing, when someone is received here, it's a place to stay, sleep. They get a bed and warm place to stay. They receive food, and so we also feed everyone that is here during that period of time. We also provide transportation to the different clinics and hospitals and places that they need to receive their medicine or treatment or surgeries, and help with translation, and also we connect them to during their time with us to other relevant NGOs, maybe a medical NGO here that has prosthetics to help someone that has lost a leg, and so on, in order to help these individuals, in addition to housing them and feeding them and so on. تفضل دكتور.
يتألف البناء دار الأمان من 4 طوابق. الطابق الأول عبارة عن مكتب للإدارة، مكتب لاستقبال المرضى وتسجيل قيودهم، ويوجد غرفة خاصة للرياضة هي عبارة عن إعادة تأهيل خاصة للأخوة المصابين في حالات البتر بعد تركيب الأطراف الصناعية لهم، وغرفة خاصة للأطفال، وغرفة استراحة.
So the House of Healing is 4 stories. The first story, the first level, when you enter the House of Healing, is the administration office and the welcome center, where we receive new patients, women, men, kids, elderly that are coming. We also have a room for rehabilitation and exercises, and this is particularly useful to the many people that have amputations, that have lost their legs or arms, and need to be able to learn how to use them again. And we also have a playroom also for the kids, because we get a lot of young kids, either they're coming with the person that's getting treatment or they're getting treatment themselves, and that describes you the first floor. تفضل دكتور.
الطابق الثاني عبارة عن يوجد فيه عدة غرف مجهزة بالأسرة من أجل المنامة، وغرفة للاستراحة أو التجمع الأخوة جميعا من أجل الطعام، وفي يوجد مكان للطبخ وحمامات مخصصة للأخوة خاص. هذا مخصص هذا الطابق للرجال فقط.
The second level of the House of Healing has multiple rooms. Each one of these rooms have beds and all everything needed for sort of bedding, etc. It also has like a lounge and a dining area for people to just be able to hang out and socialize. And we also have a kitchen in order to be able to cook meals and provide food for everyone. And this level is only for men. So it's the level for the male patients, both adults and children that are there. تفضل دكتور.
الطابق الثالث كذلك عبارة عن عدة غرف مجهزة بالأسرة كذلك للمنامة، وغرفة استراحة، وغرفة من أجل الطعام، ومكان للطبخ وحمامات، وهو مخصص خاصة للأخوات النساء.
And the third level of the House of Healing also has multiple rooms with beds and bedding. They have a lounge area as well as a dining area, and a kitchen. And of course, on each one of these levels are multiple bathrooms. And this level, the third floor level, is specifically for females, for the women patients that are being hosted.
الطابق الرابع عبارة عن يوجد فيه غرفة للمنامة، وهو عملناه مخصص هو من أجل حالات العزل خاصة للأخوة المرضى السرطان، من أجل الذين يتناولون جرعات كيماوية أو جرعات اليود ويلزمهم عزل. ويوجد غرفة مجهزة بمقاعد لإعطاء الأطفال المرضى الموجودين بالدار برامج تعليمية بسيطة، هي تعليم القراءة والكتابة يعني.
And so on the top floor of the House of Healing, what we have there are it's specific. First, there's a section that is specifically for those that need to be quarantined, and a lot of times, sometimes some of the cancer patients, after receiving treatment and stuff, need to be quarantined, in order not to, I guess, get sick themselves or spread something. But it is a specific area just for those that need to be quarantined. In addition, on the 4th floor, we also have an area that has multiple classrooms, and this is what we've done is we have a classroom where we teach reading and writing, rudimentary things for a lot of the children that are unable to go to school during their time at the House of Healing. And so it serves also as a makeshift school for these children.
يعمل الدار على ربط المرضى المقيمين فيه مع المنظمات والجمعيات التي تقوم بمساعدة الأخوة السوريين الموجودين في تركيا، وخاصة مرضى القلب، كون العمليات في تركيا عمليات القلب للأطفال خاصة جميعها مأجورة، فهذا يكلف، فإحنا نربطهم مع هاي المنظمات من أجل دفع أجور هذه العمليات.
And one big role we play, in addition to hosting them during the time that they're getting treated for something specific, sometimes they have other, illnesses and diseases where they're not able to receive treatment because it takes a lot of money. And so we also coordinate and indirectly connect them with NGOs or humanitarian groups or medical associations in the area that can help support some of their surgeries. For example, heart surgeries. Heart surgeries in Turkey are always very expensive. You always have to pay for them. They're never for free. And so we've been able to successfully connect people, and then host them during the time that they can get these heart surgeries and be able to go on. So that's one of the important roles of the House of Healing. تفضل دكتور.
معظم الحالات القادمة للدار صراحة هي مرضى السرطان، 40% منهم تقريبا حالات سرطانية بسبب تزايد الحالات السرطانية بالداخل السوري، ويوجد ب30% حتى موجودهم من الأطفال مرضى القلب. باقي المرضى هم من الحالات الثانية حروق وسوء امتصاص أو مرضى كبد أو مرضى عينية.
Just to give you an idea, as of now, the biggest number of patients that we have are cancer patients. About 40% of our patients are suffering from cancer and receiving cancer treatments. But in addition to that, we get a lot of people that are burned, and many that are malnutritioned, among other injuries. But they're always in a very difficult situation, the patients that end up coming to us.
يتسع الدار صراحة، هي الدار يتسع إلى 50 مريض تقريبا ومريضة ومرافقينهم، ولكن العدد يصل الآن أحيانا إلى 70 أو 80 تقريبا بسبب الحالات المتزايدة من الداخل السوري اللي يدخلون من الداخل السوري إلى تركيا من أجل العلاج.
And usually our place has the capacity comfortably is to host 50 individuals, but unfortunately, due to the great need and the unique nature of our House of Healing, there isn't many other places that serve this purpose of housing people coming from the inside. Right now, for example, we are averaging between 70 and 80 patients regularly because of the great need and the people that, they don't have a place to stay. They're usually unable to come. So instead of 50, we've been having to feed and support and host 70 to 80 individuals on average.
أخي معاذ، إحنا للتويه بس إنه نذكر إنه جميع الخدمات المقدمة بالدار هي خدمات مجانية وبدعم صراحة من المنظمة السورية للطوارئ، مشكورة طبعا، الله يجزيهم الخير.
Allah yikirmak ya Doctor. And of course, he wants to remind everyone, all of these services are absolutely at no cost at all to the beneficiaries, and it is thanks to the generous support of the Syrian Emergency Task Force. دكتور، قبل ما نكمل على الجزء الثاني من عملنا، حبيت أسألك يعني عندنا هلا أشخاص موجودين معنا على اتصال، فسألت نفس السؤال لرشا، يعني برأيك ليش لازم الأشخاص اللي موجودين معنا وأشخاص بشكل عام يتبرعوا ويدعموا دار الاستشفاء The House of Healing؟
أخي معاذ، صراحة أسمى شيء بالحياة هو إنقاذ روح الإنسان. فإحنا يعني هنا الدار هذا عبارة عن يعمل عمل إنه إنقاذ أرواح الأخوة السوريين القادمين من الداخل السوري للعلاج بتركيا. وإحنا نحب ننوه بس إني أنقل لهم صورة. تركيا تقدم العلاج للأخوة السوريين الموجودين، ولكن تقريبا 80% من العلاج هو مأجور يعني، أما 20% فقط الحالات السرطانية مجانية. والخدمة اللي يقدمونها تركيا يقدمونها بالمشافي، أما هم غير مسؤولين عن مكان إقامتهم أو شلون يصلون للمشفى أو يرجعون أو هالأمور هاي. إحنا نقدم لهم إياها، نكون اللوجستي اللي نقدم كل شيء ونأمن لهم كل شيء حتى يتعالجون ويخلصون العلاج إن شاء الله.
جزاك الله خير يا دكتور. الله يعطيك الخير ويعطيك ألف عافية. So I asked Dr. Munir, why should people on this call donate to the House of Healing? Why should people in general donate to the House of Healing? And he says that the highest sort of and most, powerful thing a human being can do is help save another human being's life. And that's the exact work that goes on at the House of Healing. It is a place where, because we give them the option, the ability to come here, they're able to really, save their lives through getting this treatment. And it is true that Turkey does provide medical aid to the Syrians that are allowed in before they have to go back to Syria. But 80% of these medical procedures are coming with a cost. They're not free. 20% of them come at no cost. And in addition to that, the Turkish government is only taking care, let's say, of that 20% during the time that they are in the hospital, right? So cancer treatment would be free in the hospital during that time, but they do not take care of transportation or housing or translation or food or anything. And for these people that have nothing, it is impossible for them to even go if they don't have that safety net to be able to go and receive their treatment. They'd be on the streets. And that is why it is so important to provide and donate and support this amazing work. شكرا جزيلا دكتور منير، وخليك معنا لنهاية إذا عندنا أسئلة بالمستقبل. شكرا دكتور. And next, I would like to introduce Mu'mina, who is the Wisdom House, the school for orphans that started way back in 2016, I believe, or so. And Mu'mina, alongside her, some of her sisters, had been really doing amazing work in the middle of war, providing education for kids. And ever since that we connected with them, we were able to really launch the Wisdom House that you'll hear more about from Mu'mina. فأنسة مؤمنة، شكرا لوجودك معنا. وإذا بتحبي تعطينا يعني نبذة من حضرتك عن دار الحكمة، بس أعطيني بين يعني كل جملتين ثلاثة الفرصة إني أترجم. تفضلي يا أنسة.
جزاك الله خير. الله يكتب أجركم يا رب. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أتشرف أن أقدم لكم نفسي. معكم مؤمنة من دار الحكمة. أحمد الله أن يسر لنا هذا اللقاء، وأتشكركم من أعماق قلبي على كل ما تفعلونه من أجل سوريا بشكل عام ومن أجل مدرستنا بشكل خاص. فكل كلمات الشكر لا توافي حقكم أنتم أيها الشعب الأمريكي بشكل عام والمنظمة السورية بشكل خاص. وأخص بالشكر الإخوة الغالين جدا على دار الحكمة وطلاب دار الحكمة. أتشكركم أخي معاذ وأخي جيري وأختي نتالي وكل كادر المنظمة.
Shukran Mu'mina. So first of all, here I'm translating. Peace be upon you all. I'm so grateful to be here, and I am so grateful for all of you. My name is Mu'mina, and I wanted to really convey how grateful we are, and we really don't have the words to thank the American people that have donated and supported our school since its inception in general, and particularly the Syrian Emergency Task Force that has given us the ability to have this school. And I want to thank you all for what you do for Syria in general, and what you do specifically for our school in particular as well. And it's an honor to be here. تفضلي أنسة.
أتمنى أن يكون لقاءنا القادم في دار الحكمة وليس عبر الشاشات ومواقع التواصل الاجتماعي.
And I hope that our next meeting is in the House of Healing itself, not virtually or on social media, but I hope that I can meet all of you and host all of you at the Wisdom House itself.
إن شاء الله. سأتكلم قليلا عن منزلي وانتمائي دار الحكمة ومشوارها منذ بداية الثورة السورية. افتتحت مدرسة دار الحكمة في منزل بسيط، وكانت تتألف من 3 فصول، وبدأت الفكرة بسبب الهجمات المتكررة على المدارس في منطقتنا من قبل نظام المجرم بشار الأسد. وقوبلت هذه الفكرة بترحيب. نعم.
So I wanted to give you a little bit about who I am and my role in general. So my role began when I started this small makeshift school in a private house that only had 3 small classes in order to provide education to kids. And the reason that we started that was because all of the schools that had existed before were being targeted and struck with airstrikes and shelling by the Assad regime. تفضلي أنسة سامحيني.
وقوبلت هذه الفكرة بترحيب كبير وحب أعظم من قبل السكان، طبعا لأن بالعلم نرتقي، والعلم هو سلاح الأجيال للنهوض بالمجتمعات. ومن ثم أصبحت المدرسة تكبر وتألفت من 5 الصفوف إلى أن بدأت المنظمة السورية للطوارئ بدعم المدرسة من مواد أساسية ومعدات.
And so the people of the community in our town were super welcoming of this private school that is in a private home that was providing 3 classes, and they all were very grateful. And it's important to remember that education is really our main weapon to be able to have hope and have a future and for the future of Syria. And so understanding the importance of education, everybody in the community welcomed that, and we slowly developed the school from 3 classes to 5 classes, including when the Syrian Emergency Task Force was able to come behind our makeshift school and then really provide all of the necessities and the support in order to have a school for the displaced. تفضلي يا أمسي.
وأصبحت المنظمة السورية بدعمها لنا تعيننا لنرتقي في مجال التعليم، ولاقت المدرسة نجاحات باهرة، وذلك كله بفضل الله عز وجل ومن ثم فضل المنظمة السورية للطوارئ.
And so the Syrian Emergency Task Force's role really allowed us to just elevate our level of education. It was beyond just a makeshift school. Now it was a real school, but not just that. It became sort of the top tier in terms of providing education for that age group. And so we thank God, first of all, and secondly, we thank the Syrian Emergency Task Force for making the school a reality. تفضلي أنسة.
طبعا أغلب طلاب دار الحكمة من المهجرين والفقراء والأيتام. كلنا نعلم ما مرت به وما تمر به سوريا بشكل عام والمناطق الشمالية بشكل خاص من قتل وتدمير وتهجير.
And of course, I want to remind you all that the kids that go to our school at the Wisdom House are all those that are very impoverished, no money. They all have been, in many of them have been internally displaced, lost their homes and everything that they grew up around. And many of them are orphans, missing one or both of their parents. Totally.
وكان لطلاب دار الحكمة نصيب كبير من هذا الألم وهذه المعاناة. ففي نهاية عام 2019 اضطر سكان البلدة التي توجد فيها دار الحكمة ومدرسة دار الحكمة بما فيها من طلاب وكادر تعليمي للهجرة بسبب القصف الكثيف من قبل طائرات بشار الأسد.
And we've been through a lot. In 2019, the Wisdom House and an entire village, our entire village was forced to leave. We left the Wisdom House's original building. We left our homes that we grew up on and the land that we owned, because in 2019, the Syrian regime had made plans to completely bombard our village and using airstrikes and shelling. And so at that time, we all had to move, both as students, teachers, and staff in the entire village.
كان الجو باردا وقاسيا، وكانت كل عائلة ذهبت إلى مكان تظنه أنه آمن، ولكن لا أمان، وبشار الأسد يحكم سوريا وروسيا وإيران تساندانه وتقفان معه.
I remember that night, it was freezing cold. We were all super cold as we had to leave our homes and our loved ones and that didn't make it. And then and it was really tough. And we were hoping that, we find a place that is more secure. But of course, there is no security as long as the Assad regime continues to rule and as long as Russia and Iran continue to use military operations against the Syrian people.
كان حالنا صعب ويرثى له، علاوة على أننا فقدنا ديارنا ومدرستنا وفقد فقدنا طلابنا وأبناءنا فلذت كبدنا، فكان أكبر تحدي لنا الوقوف من جديد. وبالرغم من ذلك كله، صعوبة الفقد وألم الفراق لم تتركنا المنظمة السورية للطوارئ وساعدتنا على النهوض من جديد لنبدأ حياة جديدة. فكانت المنظمة السورية المعين المعنوي والمادي لكل من ينتمي إلى دار الحكمة.
And so this, at that time we had lost some of our kids, we lost some of our family members, we lost all our homes, all our properties and everything, and we had to move and run away in a single night as there was bombardment on our village. Didn't even know where to go and what to do, and it was really tough. But what was really, really important is that the Syrian Emergency Task Force did not just leave us, at that point, did not, say, okay, well, the school is bombed and everyone's gone and it's over. They stood by us, and it allowed us to reconstitute ourselves, not only to move somewhere else, but also stand back up on our feet and restart the Wisdom House in a powerful way. And that's something we won't forget. تفضلي أنسة.
الكلام يطول جدا عن شرح ما مرت به المدرسة من صعوبات ومواجهات قاسية، وكثير من التقارير والحكايات المؤلمة منها والمفرحة أيضا تجدونها في صفحة المنظمة على الإنترنت.
And so there are so many. I could talk to you all for hours and hours about the Wisdom House and what we've been through, including the really tough times and hard times, but also the good times and the fun times that we've been able to live through. And I encourage you all to visit SETF's website and see. You can see some of that in the pictures and the stories at SETF's website, which is setf.ngo. شكرا جزيلا مؤمنة. تفضلي إذا آسف إذا بتحبي تتابعي.
نعم أكمل إن شاء الله. ولكن ما أحب أن أذكره هنا أننا في دار الحكمة نسعى لتربية الطفل وتنشئته على حب العلم وتقوية شخصيته، فهذا كله يترافق مع اللعب والترفيه لكي يشعر الطفل أنه فعلا ينتمي إلى بيته ويشعر أن معلمته هي أمه الثانية. فالكثير من الأطفال فقد أمه في هذه الحرب. شخصيا أحمد الله على أن جعلني معلمة وأفتخر في ذلك، فكثيرا من الطلاب ينادونني ماما. طبعا أنا أقول هذا اللفظ أحيانا قد يكون تلفظ به الطالب بالخطأ، ولكن من وجهة نظري أنه لم يخطئ إلا لأنه يتبادل شعور السعادة والمحبة بينه وبين معلمته. هلا راح أذكر قصة
تمام بس ترجم لنا اللي قلتيه مشان ما انسى. كلامك كثير ممتاز، الله يعطيك العافيه يا انسه. مؤمنه so Mumina says that we really also make sure that not only are we providing the highest quality education for these children, but also that we provide them a sense of normalcy, allowing them to play. We make sure that they have, a recess and go on field trips and have toys and other things. And we try to make them feel like they're at home. And a lot of these kids have lost their fathers and mothers. And so a lot of times they look at us, I look at them as and I thank God that, God made me a teacher, because I look at them as my own children. And a lot of times these, students will call me mama, mom, which I think is really powerful. And I think it just shows how they feel like they're home, and how they feel like their teachers also are there, in place of the mothers or fathers that they may have lost. تفضلي أنسة سامحيني.
سأذكر لكم قصة الصغيرة عائشة. عائشة يتيمة من القرية التي توجد فيها مدرسة دار الحكمة حاليا. فقدت عائشة أبيها وهي بنت 2 وتزوجت أمها وتركتها مع جدها ليربيها. عائشة تسكن هي و2 من أولاد أعمامها أيضا هم أيتام، فإن جدها فقد أولاده 3 الذين خلفوا وراءهم 3 زهرات. استشهد والد عائشة دفاعا عن الحرية والكرامة، وقامت زوجة جدها بتسجيلها في دار الحكمة، ولكن عائشة كانت رافضة وغير متقبلة لدخولها في صفوف الدراسة، طبعا لأن ظروفها كانت قاسية جدا وتشعر أن هذا العالم قاسي جدا، فهي لا تريد الاندماج في جو جديد غريب. ولكن زوجة جدها أصرت إلا أن تبقى عائشة في المدرسة. طبعا بالنسبة لزوجة الجد فإن دار الحكمة هي الخيار الأنسب لها، فإن ابنتهم عائشة سوف تتعلم وتندمج بالمجتمع بدون أي مقابل، لأن التعليم في دار الحكمة مجانا تماما. وفيها كمل ولا؟
خليني أترجم على السريع. I wanted to tell you the story of one of our students. Her name is Aisha. Aisha is this young lady who lost her father when she was 2 years old. Her father died defending, their village and their town. And Aisha comes from the original town of the Wisdom House, the one that they were all forced to flee. Her mother remarried and was kind of out of Aisha's life. Aisha ended up living with her grandfather and grandmother. She, along with 2 other orphans too, that were her cousins, and really she went through a very, very hard emotional, time. I mean, just what she went through, from not having a father and losing her, parents to surviving through this war and a bombardment and everything. So it was a really tough situation. And they, initially Aisha didn't want to go to school. She didn't want to go to the Wisdom House, but her grandfather and her grandmother specifically wanted her to go to school because it'd be, first of all, really important. She'll be getting an education, and for other reasons too, because it'd be free, because we do not charge anything for the uniforms or backpacks or education or food. Everything that is provided by the Wisdom House is absolutely free. And I'll let her continue the story. تفضلي أنسة.
فهي زوجة الجد تركت عائشة لأن التعليم في دار الحكمة أولا مجانا، ومن ثم يتعلم الطفل الاندماج مع المجتمع وتطوير ذاته وتطوير تعلمه وتقدمه في الحياة بشكل عام. ففي أسبوعها الأول في دار الحكمة لاقت معلماتها صعوبة في التعامل مع عائشة وإرضائها والتقرب منها، وأراد كادر دار الحكمة جميعا التعامل معها بكل دقة لكي نحتوي هذه الطفلة ونجعلها فردا من أفراد دار الحكمة. والحمد لله تكلل هذا الأمر بالنجاح، وأصبحت عائشة لا تطيق أيام الإجازة، فتقول للمعلمات أنها تريد أن تأتي إلى دار الحكمة في أيام العطلة. إلى الآن عائشة تزور معلماتها ودار الحكمة. وأذكر لكم أننا قد قمنا بتوزيع لباس العيد للأطفال، فكانت عائشة ترتدي ثوبها الذي أخذته في العيد، وإلى الآن ترتديه على الرغم أنه أصبح صغيرا قليلا عليها وأصبح قديما. فهي منذ 2 ترتدي هذا الثوب، ولكنها أحببته يعني جدا. فهذه هي عائشة، ابنة من بنات دار الحكمة التي لا تنسى.
And so Aisha, this young orphan who didn't want to go to school, she has been so traumatized by everything that she went through. She was very antisocial. When she entered and started the Wisdom House, it was really tough the first week to try to reach her, for the teachers to try to have her open up and be involved and integrated with the other young kids and everything. But after that first week, we had spent a lot of time as teachers really caring for her, understanding the trauma that she went through, losing her parents, living through the war, being displaced. And through our work with her, Aisha then became one of the best students and loved the Wisdom House. As a matter of fact, she would complain when it came to a weekend break or a holiday where there was no school. She wanted to go to school during the time that there was holidays. School became a home for her and a place where she can build her confidence and where she can have a future and have an education. And Aisha got, we always, every Eid, we get them little, shirts or uniforms and so on. And Aisha loves the school so much that ever since she even, graduated, she still wears her shirt and stuff because it reminds her of the Wisdom House. She still comes to the Wisdom House regularly and visits with the teachers and talks to the kids. And it shows, what a transformation the Wisdom House was able to make for this young orphan. And that's the story of one of the many kids at the Wisdom House. تفضلي أنسة مؤمنة، تحبي تكفي؟
نعم. إلى الآن دار الحكمة لها 10 سنوات منذ أن بدأت، ودائما في تقدم وازدهار ولله الحمد والمنة. بالنسبة للطلاب في دار الحكمة، كل سنة يحصلون على اللباس الجديد والكتب والقرطاسية الكاملة، وكل ذلك يعود إلى المنظمة الحبيبة، المنظمة السورية للطوارئ، وكل ذلك بالمجان. مرت علينا سنوات تقوم المنظمة بدعم الأطفال معنويا وماديا. طبعا تعيننا بملابس العيد والهدايا لنرسم الضحكات على مباسم طلابنا الأحباء، لأن أطفال سوريا يستحقون أن يعيشوا هذه اللحظات السعيدة كأي طفل بأي بلد آخر.
And so for 10 years now, the Wisdom House has been ongoing. The Syrian Emergency Task Force provides rent and food and salaries and all costs, as well as all the stuff that the kids need, like backpacks and books and stuff that they need for school. And every Eid we do a celebration, we give them gifts, we have graduation ceremonies, and all of that is provided completely free to all of these kids that wouldn't have an education otherwise. And our school continues to be in. I visited all these people. Now I'm not translating, but I visited all these places that they're talking about. It really is, for each part where they are, it's like a place where they where everyone sees it as the best place for education and want their kids to go there. تفضلي أنسة.
وبذلك كانت المنظمة السورية للطوارئ الداعم النفسي والمادي الأول لطلاب دار الحكمة. ولذلك أجدد شكري لآلاف المرات لكم، فأنتم تدعمون ما يقارب 140 طالبا وأسرهم وعائلاتهم جميعا. فأنتم تدعمون مجتمع بأسره للوصول إلى جيل واع محب للعلم. وأخيرا أسأل الله أن يمدكم بالصحة والعافية، وأن يكلل ازدهار دار الحكمة وأعمال المنظمة بالنصر القريب والعودة إلى ديارنا وإلى الموطن الأول لدار الحكمة في إدلب، والتخلص من بشار الأسد وأعوانه. وشكرا
آمين.
لكم
جزاك
جزيلا.
الله خير يا مؤمنة. الله يعطيك العافية.
حياك
خطاب.
محمد.
So finally, Mu'mina would like to say that, SETF has been the moral, emotional, and financial support of the Wisdom House. And through your support, your donations, you are supporting 140 kids that have been displaced. You're supporting 140 families. You're really supporting a small segment of society in Syria in more ways than people know. And so we are so grateful. And then this is why people should support and donate to the humanitarian programs of the Syrian Emergency Task Force and to the Wisdom House specifically. And she wanted to say as well that, God bless you all for being here, for your time listening to us. And she says, may God grant Syria the freedom and grant us all the ability to go back to our homes, and for the Wisdom House to go back to its original location in Idlib Province, and may God make Syria free of Bashar al-Assad. شكرا آنسة مؤمنة. جزاك الله ألف خير.
شكرا لكم. الله يجزيكم كل خير ويبارك فيكم.
وخليكي معنا لنهاية
إن شاء الله.
الجلسة إن شاء الله.
لا يمل والله.
So,
اللقاء لا يمل، نحن هون.
تسلمي. So next, I'll talk very, very, very briefly about our final humanitarian program. And again, the donations today will go to these humanitarian programs directly. They don't go to overhead. They don't go to other costs. They go specifically to help these amazing programs that you're hearing about. And the last program I want to tell you about is called the Hope Pharmacy, in a camp in southern Syria, completely besieged, Rukban camp, where no one has been able to enter for many years now. The Syrian Emergency Task Force established a pharmacy. It is the only no-cost pharmacy, and really the only kind of formal pharmacy in the camp at all. And when I visited this camp, I drove all around the 55-kilometer area surrounding the camp. And every single person that I came across, I had brought a doctor from Philadelphia to help treat some of these people that also don't have access to doctors. When we asked them where they have the medicine that they have right now, they would say, well, the Hope Pharmacy, the only place that people get medicine. So the entirety of the camp relies on this pharmacy for their medicine. And this medicine is given away for free with absolutely no cost, just like all of our other programs. That's what the Hope Pharmacy is. Another amazing, institution in a place that is completely forgotten, unfortunately, by so many. And as we zoom in on the map over here, you can see the desolate place where Rukban camp is, right here in the middle of the desert, where there is nothing, under siege by Russia and Assad in Iran, with borders with Jordan and Iraq completely closed. It is the Hope Pharmacy that provides 8,000 civilians with their only source of medication that they are desperate for in a place where they have very limited healthcare access. And with that, we have discussed the different humanitarian programs, and I wanted to, as we talk, perhaps if people that are listening, if you would like to pledge a certain donation based on what you're hearing today, to please go ahead and do so on the chat, and perhaps Sully and team, as people pledge specifically what they're that may be giving, we can kind of announce it here, and hopefully it encourages each other to be able to give to something that is incredibly important. It counts as your zakat if you're Muslim, and goes directly to humanitarian aid. And with that, I want to introduce a colleague of mine, Omar al-Shurari, who himself has an inspirational story, has been part of SETF for quite a few years now, and he can tell you a little bit more, and then open it up to any questions or answers from the audience, or any pledges of support. Omar?
Thank you, Maz. And if you guys just understood, the ones who understand Arabic, but the ones who didn't understand it and need Maz translation, Momina's speech was fantastic. It was very joyful to listen to. And Maz didn't fully ruin it with the translation. He did his best, but it was great in Arabic. I met with Muaz many years ago when I was in the United States for the first time, the first visit. And before that, I had not really heard of the Syrian Emergency Task Force. I was, in a way, looking for an organization to be part of that I would believe in, because as a Syrian coming out of war and destruction, and I was also a political prisoner, so I was tortured and starved, and I lost beloved ones. Coming out of that environment did not make me easily trust any sort of organization and their work, because as a Syrian, you may have felt for a long time that nobody is trustworthy. The world doesn't care enough about what's happening to us, so we don't trust anyone. And that was the first thought I had when I interacted with any organization. And when I met Moaz, I didn't really see much of an organization. I saw an individual, and that individual had a miserable style in terms of fashion and haircut, but had a wonderful soul, and he was dedicating his entire life to work on Syria. And when I say entire life, it's really entire life. So Moaz was working day and night, and the lunch or dinner breaks were rare. So he didn't really eat enough or do anything enough except working on Syria, both when it comes to the political front, to the legal front, and the humanitarian front. And at that time, we didn't have major projects, but today we do. And it's not because of anything, but the dedication of people like Moaz and other people on our team. And our team is so diverse. We have people, for Syrian background and people with no connection to Syria except their work with the task force, like people from Italy or Americans or people from somewhere in the Middle East and so on. Because what brings people to work with the Syrian Emergency Task Force is the fact that we have people that dedicated their lives to work on this, but also we have proof that our work is being appreciated on the ground. We have this school for orphans. We're not an organization with a big budget. It's a very tiny budget, but one thing I'm very proud of is that we run our projects. Whether we got money or not, we run the projects. We find ways to sponsor it, whether that's Ma's salary or any other way. Ma's mom, who we can, take a loan from to run the school. And that's something I am really proud of when it comes to the task force, is that we don't have the money. We have to work to find the money to support this project. We can't just give these children school for 2 years and then we say we run out of money and then we have to stop the school. We can't. It's a moral, ethical responsibility for us that we have to continue. And that's why we're here today, because we're trying to find ways to continue our work. Our work at the Syrian Emergency Task Force is important for the future of Syria. It's important for the future of Syria politically, legally, in terms of prosecutions of the people who committed crimes against humanity, the people who tortured me. And it's also a humanitarian responsibility. There are these children, just like the children surrounding us where we are in privileged homes today. Like any kid, they may not fully understand what the war means, even though our children may have went through it, but they don't really understand it. All that they look for is a safe home, safe life, being able to go to school, play with other kids, and have what other people have. And we want to be the people who can make that possible. And we can't do that as a few individuals on the organization without the support of different people. And we have important organizations and names that support our work, like a movie director, M. Night Shyamalan, who give us an amount of money, and another individual who give us a few doctors who gave us. But also our projects are many, and they require the support of everyone, the ones who can offer something very small every month, or the ones who can offer something very huge every year. And you could be this or the other. And today, I'm telling you, it's the survival of the Syrian Emergency Task Force is important for the survival of our projects, the survival of this school. We've been talking about the survival of Aisha, who Momina was talking about in her statement. So we today are looking for you to be part of our organization, and you can do that by actually on a regular basis donate something regardless of the size of it. But of course, the bigger the better. That's obvious for anyone, but also it needs to match your capacity and how much you can give, so it could be sustainable. We don't want you to give and then realize you don't have money to pay your own rent. We want you to invest, and we already have, I can see people in the chat that pledged 500 or 5,000 and so on. So we want to be part of that community, and being part of that community, you're not just giving money and not hearing anything. You're getting money and you engage to the level you want to be engaged. You choose that I want to be engaged, so I want to talk to these children in these schools, or I want to talk to the nurse in this pharmacy. Or you can say, hey, I don't want to be engaged at all. I just want you to send me a monthly report or something like that. And that's something we offer, because it's important for us both, and from an advocacy perspective, to have the support of so many people, but also financially, so we can run our projects. And as a Syrian, born and raised in Syria, as someone who have suffered on the hand of the Syrian regime and now live in the West and have friends from different and worked with different companies and organizations, I can assure you one thing: the Syrian Emergency Task Force is worth the trust and the things you can give to it. And so I thank you in advance for any gifts. I will go back
Thank you, Omar. Thank you so much, Omar. And I wanted to just acknowledge a little bit some of the pledges that we have, and then I know we've gone over time, but I also want to give a chance for any questions that anyone would like to ask, or Rasha or Mu'mina or Omar or myself or anyone on the team. But I want to thank Dr. Tamer Sibai for pledging to donate $2,000. I want to sincerely thank Sarah for pledging, and Omar for pledging to donate $500. I want to thank Kamal and Muna for pledging to donate $5,000. I want to thank Katie Smith for pledging to donate $2,000 as well. And so we are just overwhelmed and so grateful for this support. And again, the support goes without any overhead, without anything beyond going directly to the humanitarian programs that you just saw and heard about. And so with that, I would like to just open it up. We're all family here. We have these amazing people on the ground. I want to open it up for questions or comments from anyone. So if anyone has any question or anything, I'm assuming Sully or Natalie, you guys are in charge of you're hosting this, so we can give people a chance to ask. So, and maybe we could bring up multiple people that have their hands up if they do. Some of them may have raised their hands to pledge or may not have a question. But I want to also sincerely thank you all for being with us here today, and for, again, your generous donations. It means so much. I see Kamal Mustafa with his hand up, and I see Mona Mustafa with the hand up. If you guys have any questions or anything that you want to add, full disclosure, that's my mom and dad. Feel free, guys, to jump in. You're able to unmute and speak if you have any questions or comments for Mumina and the rest of the team. But if you had your hands up because you were mentioning that you're pledging, I appreciate that as well, and we really are grateful for your donations. So anyone with questions, feel free to ask away. And anyone from the team too, if you guys have any comments before we wrap up, feel free to add. But I'm very grateful because in this short fundraiser, thank God, we've been able to raise some funds that will go a long way. I do want to mention one thing. The House of Healing is coming up on its next renewal of this 4-story building that's providing all this aid. And we've been very, very lucky, and thanks to Dr. Munir's leadership, to find something that is safe, that is great. You can visit it yourselves. We're about to have to pay for an entire year. It's about $10,000. So for $10,000, which is a pretty good deal, you're covering the rent the entire time for the House of Healing. So I want to mention that as well. If you guys know people in the future that would be interested in that, with their support as we get closer to the end of next month, where we have to make this year payment, they could be the beneficiaries, or they could be the benefactors for that. But thank you all. And I want to thank you, Dr. Sibai, as well, for your time and for your generous donation. And I want to thank Tasneem as well, for your kindness and for your kind words and your support. I hope I've been a good MC. I'm not, fantastic at these things. Plus, it's Ramadan, so I know we're all tired and it's getting into the dusk. But thank you all so much for your time. Thank all the people that made this happen. Thank you, Sully, for being able to put together that amazing video. And I just saw, Assalamu alaikum, Jazakallah khairan for all these efforts. I would like to pledge $5,000 split between the various programs. That is so wonderful. Thank you so much. It only says your name as AS. I would love to just recognize your name. Feel free to share it if you'd like. And thank you for that. I want to say for donations, there's been a link that's shared. You can donate directly to that link, or we can also receive a check. There's the link shared again. Oh, Abdulrahman, Dr. Abdulrahman, God bless you for that. Dr. Abdulrahman, who continued to support SETF since its inception, is someone that is truly inspirational. And the fact that this gentleman is from Gaza, where his family has gone through some of the most horrific crimes imaginable, is here on this call and donating, it really almost brings tears to my eyes. May God bless you, Dr. Abdulrahman, and all of you for pledging and for supporting. May God reward you in this life and the next. Thank you all so much. I want to just announce to all of you, if I look at 5,000 from Dr. Abdulrahman, and we add, I'm going to calculate it really fast, and then we'll wrap up the call, because I think it's worth to celebrate what we were able to accomplish today. 5,000 from Dr. Abdulrahman, 5,000 from Kamal and Muna, 2,000 from Katie, 500 from Omar and Sarah, and 2,000 from Dr. Sibai. I think
and
we
100 from
raised
Tasneem. And you get 100 from Tasneem.
$100 from Tasneem. So huge history as well. And you can again donate directly on that PayPal, or if you want to send a check, you can send a check to our office at 1455. Let me write it in here as well. 1455 Pennsylvania Avenue. But it might be easiest to do it online, but whatever works. Northwest. Actually, can someone write it? Because I'm putting it on here just in case.
You can easily find it on the website.
Address if you want to send checks. Yes, you can find it on the website, and it's on there. And here's the PayPal donate sign. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your generosity. We have reached our goal through your donations, including online. I think that's close to $15,000 that we were hoping for. And you are literally saving and changing lives. And I want to thank Dr. Munir and Rasha and Mu'mina. You guys are the true heroes on the ground doing this amazing work. God, thank you so much for your generosity. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and Ramadan Kareem.
وعليكم السلام. الله يعطيكم العافية معاذ. شكرا لكل اللي كانوا موجودين ودعموا. الله يجزيكم الخير دائما وأبدا.
Thank you. Rasha says, God bless you all, and thank you for all your donations. And as Mu'mina says, thank you in the chat as well. And Dr. Munir, myself, Natalie, Sully, Omar, we all thank you. Lexi.
شكرا أخي معاذ، شكرا للجميع الحضور، والله يجزيكم الخير إن شاء الله، وإن شاء الله الله يعوض الجميع بإذن الله، والله يبارك فيكم.
وإياكم. Shukran, Dr. Munir. Thanks, everyone. Thank you all so much. Have a great rest of your day. And we'll keep you posted on our work.
جزاكم الله خير الجزاء أخي معاذ.
وإياكم.
شكرا
السلام
جزيلا
عليكم.
للإخوة. الله يعوض عليكم يا رب
Thank
جميعا.
you, Mu'mina.
جزاكم الله خير.
آمين. جزاكم الله خير. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.